Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name is Perry Phillips. I go by Perry Flips on Instagram with a Z, Pothead Picker on X or Twitter, Flips and Giggles on Facebook, eBay, and whatnot. We've got another show tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're running a bunch of hats, so I'm not too optimistic. So if you want to come in and join and hang out, we only have like one bookmark on this one, so I don't know how it's gonna go, but we're gonna go and do the thing. It was kind of like a last minute decision. My wife, well, it wasn't like a last minute. I knew I wanted to do one a week, but I hadn't really thought that far ahead, and I just assumed the idea would come to me. And I also thought I was going to be picking up like a big bundle of stuff, but it never happened. So I was like, all right, well, let's just go with what we have a ton of. So I've got like a lot of new era new era MLB, NFL, like a ton of stuff between a mix of like modern vintage. So come hang out if you're around. It should be a fun time. We've got some giveaways. We're going to be doing some gift card giveaways. And then hopefully by next week, I'll have some stickers. I ordered some stickers. So I ordered some stickers for the podcast, and I ordered some stickers for like the business logo too. So I'll have some roughly related to reselling stickers. If you're interested and want one, give me a shout out or whatever. Reach out to me. I had a good flow going just a minute ago. I started recording the podcast, and the card. You know how if you hit like the thing locked, it was like locked. So I didn't realize it was locked. Usually it doesn't let you start recording, which it didn't let me start recording, but all it said was card protected. So I was like, oh, okay. And I just started talking. I don't know how long I was talking for. It wasn't that long. But then I noticed like my kids were like smacking each other. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. So I had to like stop to take a look at them. Now they're hiding from the monitor, so I can't see them. Cool. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get this fucking podcast done today with these kids. I've been stuck at home with them the last 3 days. They've got hand, foot, and mouth, and it's been rough. I'd rather have the shit and the puke. Oh, motherfucker! All right, hold on a second. All right, I'm off to a great start on this week's episode. God damn it! I'm really mad. I had a good little start going. I was like in a little groove, and then. I mean, it would have gotten fucked up anyway by these kids. But anyway, I would much rather deal with like puke and shit right now. In my youngest case, I am dealing with shit right now as well. She had like some nasty ass fucking diarrhea on top of this shit. I'm sorry, but this is like, this is just kind of part of what I'm dealing with. I'm trying to get a bunch of shit done while also dealing with these sick fucking kids. So yeah, my wife left on Monday for work. Not left, but like she had work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today. And she works again tomorrow. So I'm here just with like, So I've been here for like the bulk of the sickness. My oldest didn't go to school. She's got like 3 absences already in October, so that's great. But it's at least going around the school so they like know. But it's such a fucking pain in the ass, man. Because it's like 3 days that she's just home that I'm like, all right, and like now I've got the 2 kids that I have to entertain and try to figure out how I'm going to get all this work done. Not to mention, like, I don't know what it is. I like the pimple popper videos. I don't have an issue usually with skin stuff, but like for whatever reason, like my own skin is crawling, like, while being around my kids, and I feel bad because I want to hug my kids and be like, "Oh, I love you." Like, I mean, obviously I say that I love you anyway, but I can't. I'm afraid to hug them right now, and they'll like run up and be like, "Let me give you a hug." I'm like, "All right, hold on." Let me like fucking position their arms so I'm not touching them. Like I'm making them wear long sleeves and shit, full fucking bodysuit. I feel like the way I feel inside is what I imagine the people still walking around with masks in 2025 feel like regularly. You know what I mean? Like they just regularly are like grossed out and disgusted by everything else, or they just are looking for a little extra attention. Yeah, I I don't know what it is. It's making my like fucking ooh, like my kids will sit next to me and I just want to like get up and just leave the room. I've never felt this way about my kids with anything. And I didn't have an issue on Saturday. It was just like, I don't know what it is, why this particular thing is like bothering me so much. Just because it's like pus like leaking out of them, I guess. I don't know. And even so, like even if I get it, it's like it doesn't seem like it's that bad. They're like, whatever, you know. They don't have it in their mouth, I guess, which is like a big thing. That like sometimes it goes in their mouth. They had it like around their mouth and around their feet, but it's like hand, foot, and mouth. Yeah, hand, foot, and mouth disease is what it's called. So, yeah, but I'm glad it also worked out too because they both got it like at the same time, like within like a day of each other. So like we didn't have overlapping, like one was sick and then like getting the other one sick back and forth. So I don't even know how that all works. If you can still get it like right after. So yeah, it's just it's been a lot of fun. So, and then on top of that, so I had like my assignments due for school. So I had, Sunday and Monday are typically when my assignments are due. So the first one is due on Sunday. And that class is like the full semester. So that one is typically a little bit more straightforward. It's usually like read 1 or 2 chapters and do 1 or 2 quizzes and do a discussion. And that's it. And then my other class, which is the half the semester. So it's like, going to be done in a few weeks. But man, is she just wants a ton of shit done in those, few things. So like usually I try to get it done. Like I try to work on it up until, but like, my schoolwork's due on Monday. So, typically I'm finishing it up on Monday because that's just when I have time to work on it. Like I don't like to wait to the last minute, but like sometimes that's just the only time I have. And so, assignments come out Monday or Tuesday, I think. So like Tuesday I definitely need a break from schoolwork because I'm like I just like powered through for the last 3 days of just like trying to get my schoolwork done. So I'm like I need just a day to rest and recover my brain. And then Wednesday I'm like, well, I just took that day yesterday, but now I've got Whatnot because Wednesdays have been our Whatnot show day. So I'm like, all right, well, Wednesday night, so then Wednesday, basically the whole day is either like Whatnot or eBay stuff. And so I'm like, all right, now Thursday I could start working on it if I don't have other shit going on. But I have all the orders that have to be packed from the Whatnot show previously. And so, yeah, and then by like the time it gets around to it, it's like Friday, Saturday, I'm just starting up my Sunday homework. Sometimes Sunday morning I'm starting it up. And then I finished that homework. Hold on. Oh my God, hold on. All right, I have a feeling that I'm gonna get stopped again. My youngest had a shit again. Motherfucker, dude. That kid needs to learn how to take a shit on the potty. Fuck. I can't wait to be done potty training. Anyway. Enough about like fucking parent shit. I was talking about something else and then I just got completely sidetracked by my fucking kids. It's so fucking annoying. I just had something that I was thinking about. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, it's a rainy day here. Fuck me, dude. Oh my God, I don't know what the fuck that was. I don't even know. I was like in a good groove the first time and then I got stopped once and then twice and now it's just going to be me complaining about being interrupted for the rest of the fucking episode. I guess that's where I'm at. I have a return that I'm staring at. Of course it returned back to me fucking broken. This lady bought it's like a Fenton glass bowl and it like in the listing, like there's clearly, I show clearly that there's a crack in this thing, several places. Measure it, all that fucking stuff, so you can see how big the crack is. So she gets it and she's like starts a return for item not as described, which it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, this is not that it's not as described. Like, this is what you should. This is what eBay should use the AI for, rather than like doing like shitty generic descriptions. Like, use AI to stop these ridiculous fucking returns. If you start a return for item not as described, and then like, you know, it's clear that the item was as described, it shouldn't even get to the point of being shipped. It should be like, all right, well, did you screw? You should then check with the person who's starting the return. Be like, are you sure this is the reason? Because based on the description, this, that, and the other, like, this item looks the same as it was described. Like, that should be what you should be using AI for, not this fucking, not to write you some fucking slop description that like doesn't even make any sense, or doesn't even give you any like specific details about the individual items. Like, use the AI for like fucking something useful. But yeah, so like she returned this fucking package and now it's broken. So I'm, you know, gonna have to fucking deduct her 50% off because she fucking returned this glass thing without putting all the packaging shit back in it. But yeah, I don't sell a ton of glass, so it's not really like a huge concern to me, but it's just annoying because I sent her a message back because like normally I don't even like challenge people, but I'm just like, this is just so irritating that you're like using this as a reason, and she's like, oh, I'm a seller, I know. It's like, yeah, you're a seller, so you know that by using item not as described, even though you just, and they admitted that like, oh, sorry, I didn't see that, you know, see that it was like that in the description. I'm like going, it's in the description, this, that, and the other. It's like, sorry, I didn't see that. It's like, okay, so you didn't, so the item is as described. And she's like, well, I always do. She's like, I'm a seller too, and I always accept returns without sending messages. And I'm like, yeah, normally I do, but the reason that you're using for the return is inaccurate and it affects my account. And you know what you're doing because you're a seller. So I said that. I'm like, you're going to be reported for misusing this because you told me in the message, in the subject of the, or not in the subject of the message, but in the body of the message, you told me that you just didn't see it. So I hope that they kick you the fuck off eBay. They're not going to. I already blocked them. It's just another reason I just like take multiple listings down for my eBay a day and just keep focusing on Whatnot. So far I've gotten more money from Whatnot, just like for shit that's like not even like not my fault or like not even Whatnot's fault. But I've gotten more money from Whatnot than I've ever received for any issue I've ever had with eBay ever. Which is fucking wild because they just make a shitload of money. They get paid on every fucking transaction, and people like me pay for a fucking store. And you still are allowing people to do these bullshit fucking returns when it's obvious that they're misusing the return. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to spend the whole time bitching about that. Yeah, we did a Whatnot last week. Last week was the video game one, and that one actually we sold out of pretty much everything. There was like one thing that I threw in that I like, it was a video game adjacent thing. I figured I'd throw it in and see if anybody wanted it. Nobody did. It wasn't like actually part of my plan. So I count that as selling out because we got rid of all the stuff I originally wanted to get rid of and then just kind of grabbed that as an afterthought. But yeah, it's going well. We got, it's a grind. Oh my God, hold on a second. All right. Oh man, I may or may not have just lost my shit on my kids. Like 5th time I've gone up there. Fucking sitting on top of each other. I'm like, dude, you guys don't have the strength or the ability to know if the other one's going to get hurt when you're doing that. So now my oldest is sitting sulking. I can see her on the camera. But as long as she's not causing trouble, I don't give a fuck. So, yeah, the other day they were up there because like they used to take naps, and so I was putting them in separate rooms, but it's like they weren't napping, and so I was just like, that's the only time they play good together is when they're up in the same room. So I was like, all right, like you guys can stay in this room. I've got the monitor, but you have to like fucking play good and like, you know, no fighting and shit. So like 2 days ago, they were up there. My youngest pulled the dresser down, which I know you're supposed to have them like attached, but it's never been an issue. They never climb on shit, never like pull shit down. So I come up the stairs and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And my youngest is under her covers and the dresser is like on the ground. I'm like, somehow, I don't know how she did it without crushing herself. Like she wouldn't have been like crushed, but she would have been like hurt. So yeah, that like, I mean, she could have been like, you know, fucked up really bad, but so I'm hoping after that she's not going to fucking touch it anymore. She hasn't touched it. Yeah, so my oldest is like pouting now. Oh, no, she's fine now. She got over it. But I just went up and had to fucking... I try not to yell, of course. It happens. But I just went up and was like, kind of lost my shit. I'm like, dog, I'm trying to get my shit done. I didn't say that. It's like, I'm trying to get stuff done. It's easy for me to not curse in front of my kids. I thought it would be a lot harder. Like, I thought, like, when I get mad, that's when I, like, want to curse the most. I just want to be, like, fucking cursing right in their fucking face. But like, you have to refrain from doing that. I got mad at my kid the other day. I forget what she did. She did something. And I remember, like, she threw, like, she like, is a little shit starter. So she's always fucking with her older sister. And so we've told her like 1,000 times, like, dude, don't throw stuff down the stairs. Like, it's not safe. Because she'll just walk to the stairs and throw some shit down that she wants to bring down. Like, but she won't look. You know what I mean? She's not like... but the problem is, like, you know, we throw things down all the time. And, like, I never realized that you noticed it. You know what I mean? Because it's in the other room. And I just kind of, like, go around the corner and, like, throw it down. But I don't know if that's why she does it or she just, like, picked up that, like, you can throw things down the stairs and it's fun. But anyway, she had thrown something down the stairs. And so, like, you know, I've been trying to work on yelling. It's not something, again, I'm not a big yeller. Like, I'm not, like, because my mom fucking yelled all the time. So, like, I didn't want to be somebody who was, like, a yelling parent. And, so, and like for the most part, like there's not really shit that they can do that like will annoy me. But when I'm like asking you guys, like, yeah, I don't ask you guys for a lot and I'm asking you guys to chill for a little bit. And like they're fine chilling every other fucking time. It's like, but I say that I'm doing something. Like that's the thing. It's like I can't say that I'm doing anything because then they like just know that there's shit going on outside. So like subconsciously they're just like, let's fuck with dad until. So, anyway. So, yeah, fuck, where was I going with that? Yeah, I went to go smoke because I was a little like, but anyway, I do remember now, sorry. So, yeah, I was, you know, try not to yell, but she threw something and it hit her sister right in the head. Like, her sister was at the bottom of the stairs. And it wasn't something like hard or heavy, luckily, but like, we're like, dude, like, you could have really hurt your sister throwing stuff down the stairs. Like, you could hurt any of us. Like, stop throwing stuff down the stairs. So I was pretty happy with the way I handled this situation. Like, I don't know if I would get like an A for parenting, but so she threw it and like I didn't want to yell, so I just like went over to her. I always try to go over to them and like talk to them rather than like, you know, yelling across the fucking room. So like I went over and I was like, you know, you can't throw stuff down the stairs. So Isla is going to keep getting her stuff ready to get in the car, and you're not bringing anything. So I like basically told her she wasn't bringing toys in the car and that her sister was going to be able to, because her sister was like, you know, not throwing stuff down the stairs. So I don't know if this was the proper way to handle it or not. I was fully planning on letting her have toys in the car eventually. You know what I mean? I just wanted to get her, like, you know, calm her down after getting in trouble and then, like, get her in the car. And then once we got going, be like, hey, so that's what we did. We, like, had a conversation about it, why you don't throw stuff down the stairs. And then I gave her the stuff. So I was like, yeah, at the end of like that, the whole scenario where like, because my wife and my daughter, my oldest, were kind of like looking at me like, oh, she's not gonna get toys, like it's not gonna go over well. But she actually took it fine, and then like I gave her the toys after the fact. Well, I told my oldest, I was like, hey, don't give her toys if she asks for them. Like, don't give her. We're trying to teach her a lesson about like throwing stuff down the stairs. It's dangerous, this, that, and the other. And so she seemed like she got it. I hope she got it. She hasn't thrown shit down the stairs since. And I didn't have to yell. And like, it was only mildly traumatic. Like, but I've been trying to like, show consequences and shit and be like, hey, you did this, so this is the consequence. Because my youngest is like me, dude. She's just, they both have like my worst qualities sometimes. I'm like, oh, they have like all of the bad qualities of mine. So I'm like, cool. So they're going to be all right though. So yeah, this weekend I went out to some sales. It's still yard sale season here for at least another week or two, as we head into the middle part of October. Columbus Day weekend, there's usually a bunch of sales. So my wife's off, and we've got some friends that are camping in town, so we're going to go visit them. We're not going to stay the night. We don't have to do all the bullshit that's associated with camp. Just go and hang out, which is nice. And they do like trick-or-treating. So the entire campground will be set up for trick-or-treating. So they're going to have like... And then they give out drinks to the adults. Like, and again, I'm not a big drinker, so like I may or may not have a couple drinks. But the drinks they were handing out last time where it's like Fireball and like... And my buddy drinks Fireball. That shit is fucking disgusting, dude. Would never, like, I drank it back in the day, not like religiously, you know what I mean? But like, if you're going to do a shot, like I get the idea is like, oh, it's an easy shot to take. It's like, sweet. It's like, if you're going to take the shot, you got to do like the alcohol. Otherwise it's just kind of like, it's like, it's supposed to be like a thing that's hard that you do with your friends. It's like, all right, this is a hard fucking thing that we're about to do together right now. Like, let's fucking... This will be the hardest thing that we have to do tonight is to get these shots down. You know what I mean? Like, and... But yeah, Fireball is fucking disgusting. My buddy comes over with a sleeve of them. I'm like, oh, it's just like cinnamon syrup. Ugh. I used to have to make them for... when I was a bartender, I'd have to make them for the bartender's husband. And he would like, constantly order these things. Like, he's like, I want them super cold. Oh no, she drank the Fireball. No, it was him. He wanted it like super, super fucking cold. And like, so I'd have to shake the shit out of it. And then he just like, oh, he would do like 4 or 5 of those. And I'm sure he had some at the house. I'm just like, oh, it's so fucking gross, dude. But anyway, yeah, so it's going to be... It's gonna be some trick-or-treating and shit. That'll be fun. We're gonna wear some costumes and walk around. Hold on, dude. Hold on a second. Oh my goodness, I don't understand. Normally they're fine for like a good hour. It's usually like an hour that I have them up there. This is gonna be a lot longer because I have to stop every 2 fucking seconds. So yeah. Fuck, I just had what I was talking about and then I like lost it because I'm dealing with this nonsense. It's not a great day to podcast. I said this would be a rough one. You're seeing like, I had to do a project on, for school about, like an informative speech. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do like the balance between like work, home, and like school life, all of that stuff as a business owner, because that's what I do fucking all the time. And this is fucking it. This is it right here. What the fuck was I just talking about though? Man. Oh, Halloween. Yeah, trick-or-treating this weekend. At least I can like catch what I was talking about like relatively quickly without having to say a million ums like when I first started. And I'm high too, so that's crazy. I'm doing pretty good right now. Uh, this will be like, struggle bus episode whatever. Is this episode 90? I think. I don't know if this one was 90 or the last one was 90. But anyway, we're on like the countdown to 100. So I feel like I have to do something for 100, like try to get video working. But yeah, I want to do some stuff for the 100th episode. So it's coming up on 2 years. It might already be 2 years. I can't remember if I started in August or November. I think it was maybe November. I think I started talking about it in August, but it might have been. But if it's August, then it'll be 2 years already. 2 years of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. It's pretty easy. Like, it would be easy to do this podcast if I didn't have a distract. Like, if I could just sit down and like bang it out without having to get up, it would be, it'd be such a better podcast. But, it wouldn't exist if I had to do that. So, yeah. Gonna walk around and do that. And then there's a few yard sales, but there was a few yard sales this past weekend. The first one I went to, it was an all right weekend. The first one I went to, I'm trying to remember because it was, I feel like it was kind of a bust. So, so I drove out. There was a sale. It said that they were gonna have blow molds. And so blow molds are easy money. It was like the Christmas stuff. It was like snowman. I in Halloween. So I'm like, I'm gonna easily like be able to flip this stuff. So I went there. Like, sale was supposed to start at 8. I got there at 7:30, which was like, later than I wanted to be there for blow molds usually. And I got there and there was nobody there set up. So I'm like, all right, cool. So then I leave, go to another sale, and it was just like all a bunch of bullshit. And I noticed, like, I parked on the street, and this dude, he was like clearly a reseller. He had the shitty truck, borderline pajamas. I know I wear like basketball shorts in the winter. I'll wear like sweatpants and like t-shirts and shit. Like, but like they'll at least be fitting. You know what I mean? It's always somebody who's just wearing like oversized clothes, and they like pull into the driveway. The fuck was that? They pull into the driveway rather than like park on the street like everybody else. And so yeah, like as I was leaving, that guy like pulls in, and I'm like, all right, well, I got to get back to that fucking blow mold sale in case he's heading there next. So I shoot back over there, and they are just now coming out. It's like 10 of 8 at this point. And I will like walk up, and I like ask like, how much is the blow mold? She's like, oh, that one's 40 because I can sell it online for 80. And I go, okay. And I turned around and walked away. They had a whole bunch of like other table of like Marvel stuff. I took a look at it and then just turned and looked at her, and I walked away. I was like, yeah, no thanks. Just to give you an idea, it was literally the same blow mold that I sold to a guy, and I give him like a little bit of a discount because he buys a bunch of shit for me, but I essentially sold him that same one for $40. And she's like, yeah, I can sell it online for $80. I'm like, so you can sell it online for 80 where you're going to take like, 20% fees, whatever off of that, so essentially you're basically going to sell it for like $20 more, if that. And then you're going to have to deal with shipping and all that stuff. And that's how you figured out the math of like somebody else would want to buy this and like sell this online for $10. Like, so it was a lot of that on Saturday. A lot of people just with crazy prices. So I went, where did I go? I'm trying to think of what I finally ended up buying. Hold on, let me pull up my handy dandy. I've got my my list of sales that I went to on Saturday, so I can pull that up. That is, oh wait, no, this is this weekend. My bad. So where did I go? Oh yeah, so then I shot over to like this other sale, and they didn't really have shit. So finally, I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to kind of head back home because, there's not too much. And so I went to this one sale that this guy who tells me, he'll hit me up with some sales if he thinks there's stuff that I want. But he's like, sometimes he'll hit me up prematurely. Like he was like, oh, don't go to this sale. They don't really have anything that you'd be interested in. And so I like saved it for last. And, not necessarily last, but so I went to there like after I went to this other place. And I walked up, and the first thing I see after passing all the clothes was like a big box of video games. So I ended up getting like a couple consoles. I doubt they work, but I got a decent price on the bundle with all the video games and shit. And they were like, so it was a lady that I knew from yard sales. And like, I'm very friendly with her and her husband and stuff. I always say hi to them, ask them how they're doing, whatever. And I'm still going to do that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be a fucking dick after this. But she's like, she's like, oh yeah, this is my son-in-law's stuff or whatever. And she's like, yeah, she's like, oh, she tells the son-in-law, she's like, oh, this is a friend of ours, this, that, and the other. So I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, get the homie hookup. Like, it's literally what it's called, the homie hookup. And so he was like, whatever, just, make an offer or whatever. And so I always try to get them to make the first offer. And so sometimes it's like, a little crazy. So she threw out 150, and I'm like, and mind you, like this stuff isn't gonna, like, I might make $200, like may make $200, which is like, with video game stuff, that's a lot of work. At least one of them, I was like, she was like, oh, this one works. I was like, yeah, but it's broken. Like, it's clearly broken. So I have to sell it as 4 parts. You know what I mean? Like, that one automatically, this one is 4 parts. Like, the other 2, I don't know if they work. You're telling me they work. I don't know if they work. So like, those are for parts as well. Like, so I'm trying to explain to her, because she's somebody I know. And so like, yeah, she's giving it this crazy price. So I think we ended up going to like, I think I paid $70. So like, half the asking price, but like, it was worth it for, the video game systems. I'll probably make, at least that or more. And then the games, there's a couple of decent ones, and then the rest up, and they'll sell. Or I can do another whatnot auction for video games now, because I've got like, a big lot of them. It's not a big mix, which is kind of whack, but so yeah. Sorry. This is like so oh yeah, so I got to finish going through the sales. So then I after that sale, there was another sale, and it was like these 3 dudes, and like this one older dude and like these 2 younger-ish guys, and he had like a big tub of comics. So, he was saying he wanted like $1 a piece for them. He's like, yeah, because some of them you can sell for like this amount of money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. It's not just like any comic just sells for that much money, though. Like, these are like, and I told him, I was like, these are mostly dollar comics, unless there's any keys that of in here. And you could tell he didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, which means he didn't really know much about comics. And so he was like, oh, originally he wanted $1 each. He said there was like 300 something of them. So that would have been like $300. So I could have like probably offered him like $100 and he would have taken it. But then I was like, it's $100 out of my pocket for something that's probably going to sit. And then I thought, I was like, shit, I could have just bought them and did a whatnot. Like, I need to start embracing the fact that I have a lot of comics to sell on whatnot. So yeah, it's, yeah. So I passed on it. I didn't even throw him an offer. I just was like, I'll pass. I did buy some stuffed animals for whatnot. And then I got, he had this other like Dragon Ball Z figure that he thought he was going to get a bunch of money for. So I he didn't want my offer. I offered like $5, I think. It was band Presto, which sometimes those things are worth some money. Sometimes they're not. This one I couldn't find any sold. There was a few listed, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it wasn't worth what he wanted. So, and then finally I got to a sale, and he had like an old Harley T-shirt on. So I asked him if he had any other T-shirts, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I can go inside and take a look and see what I got." He's like, "They're mostly like biker T-shirts." I was like, "Yeah, that's what I'm looking for." So he only had like maybe 2 that I wanted because his price was kind of high on them. So I bought 2 for like 25. But I should do fine on both of them. You know what I mean? I should like make my money back on one of them, and then the other one I could probably make a decent profit. But then he's like, "Oh, I got some CDs if you're interested, like classic rock CDs." And so I'm like, "Oh yeah, definitely interested in taking a look, depending on the price." So he had like 2 big bins of them. There's about 400 CDs, and it's like a mix of like AC/DC, Black Sabbath type rock, and then like the Beatles, like So I've kind of been separating them into 2 like classic rock genres, like the heavier stuff and like the lighter stuff. And I'm gonna sell them in lots of 100. So there should be like 4 lots, just about. Yeah, there should be 4 lots. And so yeah, I'm like, but he said that there was like, I didn't count them because like I didn't, it's a fucking lot of work. But I'm pretty sure I'm like just putting a dent in, and I'm just over like 100 and something so far. So, yeah, I thought about doing Whatnot for those, but I gotta sell some stuff on eBay, and that stuff I know sells quickly. So, yeah, yeah, it's let me so yeah, so anyway, I completely forgot to finish the story. My bad. I'm sorry. There's a lot of distractions for me today. So I go, how much do you want for him? And he's another like, and they think it's like cheap. They're like, oh, they think they're doing you a favor. They're like $1 each. Like, that's a good deal. And it's like, yeah, you would think that, but like the last few CD lots I've sold were like, under $1 each, depending on what they are. You know what I mean? So it's like, just because you think that at like $1 each is a good deal, it sounds like a good deal, but like I'm selling them to other resellers on eBay for like, a couple dollars, or some collectors, whoever the fuck's buying them. They're buying them for a couple dollars a piece. I assume they're resellers, like maybe have like a flea market booth or something like that. And so, yeah, they always think like, oh, $1 each is like some huge hookup, and it's like, all right. So, I offered him. He was like, he wanted 400 for everything. So I was like, yeah, no, I mean, I can do, and this is again higher than I want to pay. Like for something like this, I would pay like usually $100, like maybe 150. Like I bought a lot of cassettes with some CDs mixed in a few years back for like 150, and it was like a bigger collection, I think, than this. And it's not like any other reason other than it's a huge pain in the ass to like, it's not a huge pain in the ass for me, but for like somebody else to like box everything up, and then like ship it. It's just, or to sell them individually. It's like, you really want to do that? This guy was like, oh, I can get more money selling them individually. I'm like, all right, and go that route. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, for me, I was like, I don't want to have them sit forever, so I would just probably buy them and sell them as a lot, to somebody who has like a flea market or something, like I said. And I was telling my wife all this stuff. She's like, you say this to these people? I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of got to explain my logic. Like, I'm not just trying to, give you a fucking lowball offer. And so this guy was like, we didn't come to a deal on it. And like, so I left. And I, like, afterwards, like, I always feel bad, not bad initially, but like, I feel like, shit, did I like make sure, like, I always think like, did I get fucked? Did they get fucked? Was it a good deal for both of us? Like, I always hope for a good deal for both of us. And so like in this instance, like, I know this guy probably felt like he was getting a little fucked, But like after going through all his CDs, like I really don't think so. Because he was saying like everything was in mint condition. There's a lot of these CDs that are like, there's a couple that were scratched. Most of the discs are good, but there's a couple of the cases that are fucked up. So it's like, all right, it's kind of like in a deal like that, like you kind of go through some of them, but it's like I didn't want to go through. It's not worth my time to go through all of them. But anyway, so yeah, I offered him 150, and he was like, "Well, no, I can't do that." Blah blah blah, whatever. So I left my card and my information. I left, and I did get like the 2 T-shirts and that like all the CDs from him. Or no, sorry, just the 2 T-shirts at this point. So then he calls me, or he texts me, and he's like, "Hey, would you be interested at 175?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do 175," because it's still a good deal. 175, still like around 50 cents a CD or something like that, and maybe less. I think it's under 50 cents a CD. So yeah, I went and picked him up for like 175, but had I been just like, not told him like what my reasoning was, because he was like, "Oh, I'm just going to sell them individually." I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, you can sell them individually, but they're going to sit forever." Like, eBay has like millions of viewers. Like, he was talking about selling them in person on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm like, eBay has like millions of viewers that, if you're going to sell these individually, it's going to take you forever. So, and he was trying to be out of there in like 2 weeks. I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. But more power to you. So yeah, he hit me up, and actually I went and picked him up. So it ended up being a decent day between all that. The comic book guy didn't hit me up. I didn't expect him to, but I didn't really even make an offer on that one. I was just kind of like, I'll pass on these. So then let me see. Let me pull up my thing because I've got like 20 minutes left here to kill. My kids are actually chilling finally. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I bought some Paw Patrol figures this weekend at a sale. This lady had like a ton of them. I keep finding the Paw Patrol stuff. My kids love Paw Patrol. So I just kind of like will pick up the figures that they don't have. But they have like the mission or the lookout, and I've found it like 3 or 4 times recently at different yard sales. And this last one probably would have been a decent price for it. But man, it's so big. I'm like, and I know as a kid I would have loved like the G.I. Joe thing. But I'm just like, I can't justify getting this thing because it's like such a massive, massive fucking thing. And yeah, I've passed on it a few times. I don't know. I feel like if I see it again this weekend, I might have to grab it. But the lady's like talking to me. She's like, "Oh yeah, these things are like only gonna go up in value." Like, I'm like, okay, like I don't think she's wrong about that, but I'm like, I don't think you understand like how the market fluctuates. So like, it's gonna take a while for these things to become. They're not just gonna like become valuable in a couple years. You know what I mean? It's gotta like my daughter and her age group. Those kids all have to like grow up, and I mean, it's honestly could start soon because like I'm trying to think when that show came out. That show's not that old. They've got a shitload of seasons, but like, I know my cousin's kids are all like a little bit older, and it was like probably just coming out when they were around. But that show is so fucking off the wall. It's like such a ridiculous show. I always try to steer them away from other shows, or steer them away from that one. Like, not all the time, but like if they're like, my youngest asks for it every time. And for a while, my oldest did too. But I'll be like, "Oh, let's try to like watch this or like this, like some shit that's like more chill." And actually, surprisingly, Apple TV, I found they have like the most chill, like the most selection of chill shit to put on in between Paw Patrol. But yeah, Paw Patrol is just fucking completely unhinged. It's like, yeah, and they like try to justify like the crazy shit. They'll be like, "Oh, somebody was dreaming in this storyline," like, and it's like, well, what about the rest of the crazy shit that's going on that's not dreamt up? Like, it's very, very fucking bizarre show. I know it's not for me, and like, there's other kid shows that are like like weird, but like not like this isn't like weird in a like nefarious way. It's just weird in like a what the fuck is this? Like, you know, it is Nickelodeon, so it could be nefarious. Who knows? Um, but yeah, like I'm not gonna start hoarding my kids' toys. Well, actually, I might. Like the Bluey stuff, I'm probably gonna put like in bins. But the Paw Patrol stuff, yeah, I don't know how long I want to hang on to that stuff once they're over it, just because there's so much of it. And I see it everywhere, so I'm like, I feel like the market's gonna be like flooded with Paw Patrol stuff. But who knows? I mean, people like I see people doing them on whatnots, like doing $1 starts on like just little Paw Patrol figures and shit like that. So I mean, if you got kids, I guess like getting deals on those things, I guess it makes sense. So the last toy one we did not do well. So I don't know. I gotta get a better idea for some toys. I am gonna do like I went to an auction a few years back, and it was I ended up buying like a whole collection of Spawn figures. It was like the McFarlane ones. So they're all sealed and shit in the package, and they're all in good shape, but they're like, you know, I think at the time I paid like 150. And so I mean, I don't know if they've appreciated in value or not, you know, but there's a bunch of them. So I was like, fuck, I might as well just do that. It's Halloween season, you know, that's kind of like a Halloween-ish movie. You know, it's got to do with demons and hell and all that shit. So I was like, all right, I can do that. But I've gotta go up and get them in the attic. They're like in a sealed tote in my mom's attic. So I was like, oh, I'll just put these up here and they'll appreciate in value for however long. And I'm like, I'm just going to go get them. So I already set the thing. We're trying to get on like another raid train. So I wanted to have at least like 2 shows up there because this other person was going to check out our shows. So I'm hoping that they'll check it out and like what we're doing and come to sorry, I thought I had like multiple people following me or something. I was like, something must have just happened on Whatnot because I have multiple people following me. I forget what I was just about to say. I don't know. Anyway, so sorry, I'm just going through. I saw a commercial this weekend, and it was during football, and it's like they've got like backup quarterbacks. It's like a whole like progressive. Actually, I don't know if it's progressive. But it was like a whole thing that they were doing about backup QBs. It was like, I forget what the commercial was even for, but they had like Teddy Bridgewater and like it's a bunch of backup quarterbacks who are like the stars of these commercials. And I'm just like, why are we glorifying like the backups on the team? You know what I mean? We're like this is like the person we want to glorify. So I don't know. I just thought that was funny. It's kind of like fucking the backup, the second place. But anyway, and then these are just like random things I wanted to talk about before we get out of here. So I'm going to update you each week on like the different horror movies we've caught up on, because I told you that my wife doesn't really like horror movies. She's not huge into them, so we don't watch a ton of them. But every October, I'm like, we're gonna watch some horror movies. And so this last week, we ended up watching Jeepers Creepers, which was a great movie. Some cheesy shit in it, some cheesy, effects or whatever. Gina Phillips, man, she was fucking hot in that movie. And then Justin Long, and they play brother and sister, and they might be the most retarded people I've ever had to watch in a movie. You could argue that all of the events of the movie like would still happen if they didn't do what they do in the movie, but spoiler alerts, they like are on it's basically they're driving somewhere. I don't know if it ever tells you where they're going, and this old truck fucking comes at them crazy, like follows them and shit, like real quick, runs them off the road. And they like are like, what the fuck, blah, 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 blah. So then they get back on the road and they're driving and they see this truck, and there's a guy outside the truck and he's dumping bodies into this big pipe next to this old church. And so this guy fucking turns and sees them, and they're like, fucking drive. So they go, and he like, chases after them, and like, they get away. Or I think this might be when he runs them off the road, but so they get away, and like he fucking leaves and shit. So they're like, all right, we're gonna go back to that fucking house or whatever. He's like, I'm gonna go back just to make sure like that I guess their friends are missing. So he's like, I just want to look in the pipe and see like if there's nobody there, like, they could still be alive, this, that, and the other. And so I'm like, well, yeah, you could just go to the cops, like. And so they go back to the house, like he fucking falls into the pipe, and long story short, it's things like a demon that's like hunting this stretch of highway, and there's a sassy old black lady who's a psychic who's like helping them along the way. And but it was fucking good. I mean, it was like, it was infuriating. Like I was literally like yelling at the TV. I'm just like, what the fuck? Every fucking thing they did was stupid. But aside from that, it's I think they did a sequel, so we're not great. We haven't been great on doing the sequels yet, because I keep wanting to watch some other shit. But yeah, we're gonna watch maybe tonight, or no, we're not gonna have time tonight because we got the Whatnot tonight. But like maybe like later on in the week, we'll probably watch a couple. Hold on a second. It's a miracle that I haven't fucked this up and like hit the wrong button and fucked up, but I don't want to jinx myself. The other commercial I saw was like a pharmaceutical commercial for pets. It's like, ask your vet about a Popocabel or some shit. Just like, what the fuck? What are we doing here? And then there was like another one that was like Game Flow, brought to you by Progressive. And I just kept thinking, like, I think it's time to retire Flo. Or I was thinking she could become like menopause, because right now they like kind of have like the period metaphor kind of going. So she could become menopause, and then she murders Jamie. Jamie's like the other dude in the commercial. And then she could do the commercials from jail. That would be slightly better than what they keep producing. I don't even watch the commercials anymore, but occasionally I'll check in just to be like, what the fuck's going on here? And man, are they out there? It's like they have and they haven't changed the formula for every commercial. Like it feels like every commercial now is like AI or AI adjacent. And that's like with me half paying attention. So, okay, I guess I'll finish with one more quick story just because I was thinking about it the other day. I've had a few failed businesses before starting this business, and like what was one of them? One was a bartending business, like in LA. I didn't get any like. Hold on, one more sec. So I had a bartending business in LA, and it didn't really go anywhere. But that was like the first time I was like, oh, I can just start a business. And so then I did, what was the next business? So then I moved to Washington, and I bought a food cart, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do a food cart. And I made steak and cheeses, and they were fucking bomb. I had one that was like a steak and cheese with like jalapenos and like spicy aioli. I had one that was just like a breakfast one with like aioli and eggs and shit. And then I had like just a plain steak and cheese, like, and this was on like the West Coast, so like you couldn't really get steak and cheeses. So I did like an event at this big comic book store. And like I was like, oh, this is fucking sick, but like I just immediately I was like, I fucking hate it. If I don't like something, I'm like, I'm not like, it doesn't matter how much time I've already put into it. I'm just like, I am okay just being like, all right, I don't need to invest any more time just because I already have invested my time in this. I've already invested enough of my time. I need to just not invest any more time into this. But the one thing, but like I did kind of get thrown off track. So there was this lady I met. I forget where I met her. There was like a butcher or something. And I was like telling her what type of meat I wanted for what type of sandwich. And then I was like, talking about how I had originally had a spot at this other place and then they kicked me out. They didn't kick me out, but they told me they were raising the rent, and they gave me like less than 24 hours to like respond. It was a whole fucking thing. I went to court. I think I talked about this before. So anyway, I needed a place to like a kitchen, because to have a food cart, you need a kitchen to where you can prep your stuff. So I met this lady at the butcher, and she's like, "Oh, I have a whole kitchen set up that you can use." And I forget what, I was just kind of like helping her with shit. I forget, it was her and her husband. Her husband was like a big, scary fucking looking dude. And so like at first they were very fucking nice, and they like let me use their space, and like, so it's like, oh sweet, this is gonna work. So like within a couple weeks I had like a big event at the comic book store. And so I had talked to this lady, and she knew I had a tiny store. Like she knew it was just a food cart, you know what I mean? Like, and so I had told her like, hey, like, I'm gonna need like just like a case, like, it's just a small event, whatever. And so she's like, a case? And so at that point she didn't like, it was another lady who was taking the order. So at that point she didn't say, are you sure, like a case is a lot? And then be like, it's this much, like, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, okay, like, like, yeah, just that'll do, whatever. And so they call me back, or the other lady I'd been working with, I don't remember her name. And she calls me, and she's like all pissed off. She's like, did you place an order for da-da-da? And I said, yeah, I told you I was going to be making an order for like, I needed it for this event, like this, that, and the other. And she's like, well, you just ordered like, it was like 80 pounds of meat or something like that. I was like, well, why didn't you check with me before they did the order? Like, if you if you weren't sure, like, you're calling me now because you were not sure that I was going to want this stuff. Like, why wouldn't you call me before you did? But they like processed the entire order, and then she called me. So she was like, cussed me out. She was like, you need to get your shit together, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, well, fuck this lady. You know what I mean? At the time I was afraid of her husband. Because her husband was this fucking big, old fucking, like, probably like killed some people type shit. So I was just like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what you, like, I told you I wasn't a big operation. I don't know why she thought, like, I told her it wasn't for a big event. Like, she should have checked with me before she placed the order. Like, I don't know why you're fucking flipping out on me. So, like, I didn't cuss it or anything like that. I was just like, all right, whatever. And then I just never talked to her again. I was just like, fuck you, lady. I never went back there again. And that was kind of the end of that business. Because I was already like, it was so much just to get it. It's like so much just to get the one thing running. You needed so many. It was like you had to get like licenses and permits and this and that. And then you had to get all your equipment. And then you had to get all your ingredients. And like, I was like, the amount of running around and shit that I had to do just to make the thing run was like, I was like, no, I hate this. And then you had to do the events, and then you had to deal with people like that who's just like, it's like, lady, you fucked up, not me. Like, you fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't fuck up. I ordered the fucking thing. If you weren't sure if your employee wasn't sure, or you weren't sure, like, you should have checked before you went through the order. You should have been like, okay, just so you know, this is your first order with us. A case is like 80 pounds of fucking meat. Instead of being like, hey, we processed your order. Are you sure you want it? Like, what the fuck? That's kind of ass backwards. But yeah, so now I'm like, this is much easier. Much fucking easier. Even with all the bullshit, it's much easier. So, anyway, thank you for being patient with all the stops and starts. But yeah, I just had to get it done today because, again, I'm not going to have too much time. But we were able to get the podcast done today. Remember, if you're around tonight, check it out. Flips and Giggles on Whatnot. So 8:30 p.m. is the start time for our auction. We got a bunch of hats So check it out. It's going to be like cheaper starts. It depends on the hat. And then, yeah, make sure you follow us on Instagram, Perry Flips. We're going to be probably posting some giveaways as it gets closer to my 100th episode. So I'll try to do a good giveaway or something. We'll see. But yeah, make sure you subscribe to the podcast and make sure you hit the alert button so you catch every episode, and tell all your friends. It's getting towards the 100th episode, so get with it or get left behind at this point. All right. Fucking go out there and find some treasures and shit and have a good rest of your week. Happy hunting. And I shouldn't say happy hunting, because that's probably like, they're going to be like, that's code. That's right-wing code. That's what all the yard sale people say. All the old ones say it to me. They go, happy hunting. I go, yeah, the fuck are we hunting, dude? I was just looking for fucking shit to sell online. And, yeah. Anyway, that's the podcast. Thanks for hanging out. I'll talk to you again next week.